Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to round 4 of the Australian-New Zealand Camping World Truck Series. That's a bit of a tongue twister. It's about 20 seconds left in practice. We're just watching Roger Clark at the moment. Just leading this group of 3 cars around. And that looks like the session will be over. And we'll be leading up into qualifying. The guys will get 2 flying laps. And we'll see who comes out on top. Aaron's out in track, just starting to wind it up. We've got 5 minutes. Just got a little, sorry for not, every now and then I've just got a bit of chatter in my headset with what's happening behind the scenes. Still learning my ropes, doing a broadcast, but hey. Aaron's out in track at the moment, winding up. We've got Brad Lloyd. Matthew Collott. Got Simon Thomas. Simon Joel Smith. Daniel's out there at the moment. Edward Foster. Norman Clark. Phil Otto. It looks like he's about to start his... He's just started his first lap. Got Jason Martin. He's going to be one driver to watch out for tonight. There's Wayne. Hayden Dodman's another one to watch out for. There's Ray and Matthew Deere. So we've got Aaron that's just started his lap. So it's just starting to move around a bit. Everyone's starting to get their first lap in, which in theory is their slower of the 2 laps. But these things will be still winding up. In the pack they'll be travelling a little bit quicker than this. Looks like he's aborted the lap. Still got 1.5 minutes left in qualifying. Rodney Morris won his car, his truck up. .07 for Matthew Collott. Very fast time for the trucks. Edward Foster only 2 100ths away from that. Second to third. And sorry, we just had someone else jump to the front. Jason Martin. At 50.03. We're still watching Rodney Morris at the moment. don't think he is going to have enough time to... Oh, he might have left it to the last second to be able to land this. Currently sitting 18th on the grid. We'll see where this jumps him out. Also got Roger Clark out in the track. He's nothing 5, 4, 3. Is he going to land the time? There he goes. Jumps him up to 12th place. So the grid. We have Jason Martin on pole. Matthew in second, Edward Foster in third, Daniel in fourth, Hayden Dodman in fifth, Chris Prunell in sixth, Phil Otto in seventh, Aaron Wilton in eighth, ninth is Norman Clark, 10th is Simon Joel Smith, Brett Douglas is 11th, Rodney Morris is 12th, Ray in 13th, Simon Thomas in 14th, 15th is Daniel Stevens, Brad Lloyd is in 16th, 17th is Wayne Pelling, Matthew Deere is in 18th, Roger Clark is in 19th, Mitch McLeod in 20th, and he's going to be a driver to look out for coming through the field. Ashley Lear in 21st, Nicholas Crawford in 22nd, Daniel Webb in 23rd, Mick Brest in 24th, Hayden in 26th, and Corey Fuster in 27th. Just getting a bit of chatter from drivers complaining how cold it is down south, and the Queensland boys giving them a little curry about it. So we're just sitting at the moment. We're just lining up on so the pace car pulls out. Sorry, I'm just getting a fair bit of chatter in the ear at the moment. The pace car pulls out, and they'll come back round and we'll go green. Just coming up into turns 3 and 4. Will Martin hold them up until the green, or get the early jump to make sure he leads them into the turn 1? Green flag it is. Jason Martin leads him into turn 1. Oh, a little bit of rubbing going in. It's made a little bit untidy. They stayed Still green flag, so he saved it, and now he's got some work to do. And that would have been a massive wake-up call to grab his attention. Now head down. So we've got Edward Foster now out in front, and Hayden Dodman's gone to the outside to challenge for the lead. Sitting in there nice and tight. It looks like Hayden's going to the front. Loses again in the turn. We've got a caution that's out. There he is right there. Daniel Stevens. Let's have a look at what happened. A couple of guys who got high up in the wall, and it's just hooked right on him. So, looks like Daniel's in the pits at the moment. I'd say he'll use his fast repair and get moving again. So it looks like we're under caution for the second lap from an incident on lap 2. I couldn't see many of these guys, if any, coming into pit lane to splash their tank, probably gain a couple more laps into the race. Or they might. Jason Martin's sitting in 23rd. Oh, Mitch McLeod's come into pit lane. Ashley Lear's in pit lane. We've got a group of them coming in. Mitch McLeod has just got into his pit box. .15, 14.4 off, a little bit slow. Looks Daniel's got just a splash of fuel. These guys will scoot around to catch back up. Jason Martin, after that tap on the opening lap, is back up to 20th place. So he's got 36 laps to sort of work his way through the field to get back up the front. Just got to be kind and gentle doing it. It looks like the lights are off, so they'll form back up two abreast. And next time by, we'll go back to green. Foster's just tightening him up a little bit, but still keeping him within correct distance of the pace car. We're expecting pit stops around lap 18 to 22, depending on how much fuel these guys are burning. They're restricted to a 35.5 litres, I believe, on board. I'd actually have to go in and check with the organiser on that, but I'm pretty sure they're restricted to half tank, which is about 35.5 litres, maybe 36 litres. But lap 18 to 22 is the target to try and get. Getting to lap 22 is probably a little bit more beneficial to stop for fuel than lap 18, so you don't have to save a bit. Here we go, pace car's in. Just starting to form up a little bit out the front. Hayden's dropped a few spots, he's back to 5th. But we've got Edward Foster out in front, Chris Patel in 2nd, and Matthew in 3rd. Looks like Edward and Chris are just starting to pull away a little bit. Nothing too major. The guys behind them will still get sucked up on the draft and pull them back in. And look at Hayden move his way up to 2nd place. Beat on the outside, but he's able to still keep in contact with them. That's Brad Lloyd. Just heard of someone just commented how they saved something, but just wasn't too sure. But Jason Martin's still sitting in 20th. The person that's been moving up the field has been Mitch McLeod. He's got an extra bit of fuel, fresh tyres I believe, and has moved his way up to 11th place on the outside line. And currently Mitch McLeod is still moving up the field, up into the top 10 now. The highest placed car that has actually pitted, which makes it a little bit interesting. Looks like the outside line's starting to work. It's all starting to get a little bit spread out width-wise coming through the corner. These guys will drop back in behind each other pretty quick down the straights. I'm currently looking at Simon Joel. He's sitting in 6th place. I've got Mitch McLeod sitting in 9th, which is the car 40. We might jump on board to see how hard he's working at the wheel. If I can find see that just not much room to work with. And out the back, looks like Matthew Deere in the 26, carrying a little bit of front end damage. But staying tucked up, he keeps getting sucked up in the draft. There's battles all the way through. I'm going to start to wonder whether being tucked up, the car's sort of further back, how much hot air is getting through those motors, whether the guys can actually keep them cool. Looks like Hayden and Aaron have both decided to drop in behind. Just got some chatter with Mitch McLeod. Being spoken to from one driver to another. But he's up in 4th. They're all starting to drop into Indian file, so be interesting whether the outside line's going to start working. Looks like Hayden's up on that outside line again, trying to get it to work. 15 laps in. Looks like Hayden's got Daniel sitting up behind him now to try and get that outside line to work. And Matthew fires out from behind. And Brad Lloyd's just entered the pits. Here we go. Hayden Dodman, it's the big one. It is the big one. Trucks have gone everywhere. Now I know Hayden Dodman was involved. So we'll have a quick look at the replay. I don't think I've gone back far enough. A little bit tight, and it looks like number 4, car 4. Has popped up. And looks like Hayden's tried to make it 3 wide, and he's brought it back down on top of him. It's caused the big one. It's got a few in there. So this makes things real interesting. It's like Brett Douglas was able to limp his truck back in the pit lane. Got a few guys and got some quite lengthy pit stops at the moment. And here they come. Looks like Aaron's the only one who stayed out. Couple laps away from the end of his tank, I'd be grabbing fuel. Rich McLeod came in 4th. Looks like he gets the jump off pit lane into into 3rd place. Jason Martin's entered pit lane. Got a few guys in there having repairs. Matt Kalolt, Hayden Dodman, Simon Thomas, Simon Joel Smith, Norman Clark and Ray are all in pit lane at the moment for lengthy stops. Looks like Jason Martin's in there as well. Just sort of looking. Car 5's a lap down, and he'll cycle through pit lane. He's come into pit lane, so sorry, there's action absolutely everywhere at the moment. We're just trying to get our heads around who is where. But it looks like Mitch McLeod has filtered through, and a very quick stop with only grabbing 2 tyres and filling her up with fuel, and to see where he falls out. But moved up to 3rd place, so he's got back through the field. So approaching the halfway mark. Hopefully the lights are out on the pace car this time by. We've also got a few guys lap down, but Jason Martin's crawling his way back through the field. Back up to 11th place. So whether he's carrying any damage from the contact he had on the opening lap, and it's making it a little bit harder to get through the field, but it's a little bit. Then we've got Hayden Dodman and Matthew Collot just drop back in the pit lane. We have two. I don't think they'd be in to take tyres. I'd say they would be into top the tanks up, but looks like car 4 is Matthew Collot and the race off pit lane. Looks like they both grabbed tyres. So lap 20. So these guys would have the most amount of fuel, but being a lap down, fill her up, hope for a caution and get the wave around. Way to go. Shows you how good I'm watching at the moment. Didn't realise the lights were out, but looks like we're going 3 wide straight off the restart. Car 41 sort of missed the start a little bit, so just hold all their lines, we'll get through. Mitch McLeod slips right up on top of Aaron. We've had Ray pulling back in the pit lane. Must be ongoing issues with his truck. And Mitch McLeod is on the inside being pushed along. We're still running 3 wide at the front. A little bit of hip and shoulder happening, but everyone's still going. And they're still running 3 wide up the front. One off the wall. Who was that? We got 2. It's just propped everyone up. The green flag stays out. And it's Aaron that's put himself up in the wall. Who have we got? Got Brad Lloyd involved, so we'll go back and have a look what's just happened. And we just missed it. Trying to see what happened up here. Gone to 3 wide, coming up into turn 3. And a little bit of touching, and car 24, Simon Thomas, into a wild tank slapper. So Brad Lloyd and Ray are both in the pits at the moment. It's a hard one to call at the moment. Would you grab a splash of fuel? And Mitch McLeod has come in. He is going to come in and splash that tank. Looks like we've got a few cars in pit lane at the moment. And Brett Douglas has got the wave around. Still got Brad Lloyd in pit lane. Looks like some major damage. And Mitch McLeod's pit stop has dropped him back to his 13th place. And another driver that I saw pit was Jason Martin, who's come out, oh actually Liz, and Jason Martin right in front, so this is going to be interesting with these guys coming back through the pack. Got Mitch McLeod hanging back off the pack a little bit, so it's going to be interesting. Nicholas Crawford's just pulled in the pits. Jason Martin's gone back into the pits. David Webb's in the pits, and Simon Thomas has entered pit lane. I'll be assuming it'll be lights out next time by. We'll go back to green. Coming back down on the front straight. Just keeping an eye on the pace car at the moment. We're hoping it's lights out. Which it is, so the guys will rack them and stack them. Ready for the restart. One truck down low, just trying to get position. A couple of guys are complaining they're on the wrong side and want to get to the outside lane. We'll see if we can get this race back up and going again. Looks like pace coming back on the front straight. Pace car is about to drop in. We'll see how good the action is facing backwards on the restart. Here we go. Oh, they're pushing. Moving around a little bit. A little bit of moving around. They're tucking up. Running pretty tight. Out of the front 6 cars, Mitch McLeod is carrying the most amount of fuel and got the freshest tyres. So he's good to go all the way home. We've got Daniel and 3 of them in the wall. Mitch McLeod was involved in that. He got cleaned up for... Where are we looking? Where are we looking? Just nosed in. I still didn't catch. Run 3 wide. Looks like car 41 just got a little high, which has just caught a chain reaction. And that cleans another few trucks up. So, Crisp Purnell is leading Roger Clark. What am I looking for? Roger Clark in 2nd. Rodney Morris in 3rd. Phil Otto in 4th. So, a few front runners have just been sort of cleaned up. Got a few guys pulling in there. We've got Ashley Lear, Nicholas Crawford. They've just pulled in the pit lane. Edward Foster, Mitch McLeod, David Webb has pulled in. Matthew Deere's in. Still trying to get my head around who's actually pulled in. Who might have just splashed and dashed. there's a fair bit of chatter between the drivers at the moment about not getting a lucky dog, which is interesting. For the lucky dog, you've actually got to get through an accident unscathed and be the first car not on the lead lap. Simon Joel Smith has just peeled in the pit lane, and Nicholas Crawford's gone back in. So we've got 10 laps to go. Let's see if we can get 10 green laps. Maybe 9. We're hoping for lights out next time by. Next week we're hoping to tune into the driver's radio so you can hear a lot of the chatter that happens between drivers. Looks like car 22 of Wayne's is carrying a little bit of panel damage from that last one. Looks like it's been hit up the left rear quarter and sideswiped down the left side. So the lights are out, they're starting to rack themselves back up again. Car 41. Just chatting amongst themselves of how much damage. But as I said, we're hoping to get the radio chat tuned in for next week's round. That's the next project on the overlays. And as we come into turns 3 and 4, looks like Rodney Morris is stacking up in nice and tight, ready for the restart, and they're off. Looks like they're 3 wide back a bit. Well, holding their lines. A little bit of movement around, but Mitch McLeod's been able to thread the needle up and move up to 6th place. And one turned around and one over. Looks like car 22's come down on Mitch McLeod. Edward Foster gets spun around and up and over the top. And we're back under caution. So we're going to have one green flag run left. We've got a few cars in the pits at the moment. Some from the previous crash. Mitch McLeod's is in there from this one. So I'd say this is going to have a lot of discussion at this. This is going to have a lot of discussion at series run, and we're also we've got Jason Martin and Edward Foster back in the pit lane. So the cars that are starting to stack in the pit lane are starting to get a little bit big. So 6 laps to go. Hayden Dodman's back up to 6th place. And looks like we've got 12 cars left on the lead lap. Matthew Collot looks like we've got the Matthew Collot looks like he got the safe the lucky dog. Nicholas is up to 4th. Chris Perel. We've got 6 laps to go. We're hoping the caution lights will go out this time by. And looks like we're got another lap after on caution, so looks like we could be getting a green-white checkered. So Roger Clark currently leading, stuck in behind the pace car. Started in 19th, has finished 8th. Chris Perel's started in 6th, he's gained 4 positions. Rodney Morris has started 12th, gained 9 positions. Nicholas Crawford started 22nd. up the fourth, 18th. We've got Phil Otto started 7th. He's up to 5th. Hayden Dodman started 5th. He's currently running in 6th. As we go, like David Webb started 23rd. It's up 16 places to 7th. Jason Martin started in 1st. Has slipped back to the rear of the field and is waiting. Made his way back up to 10th place. Edward Foster's lost 10 positions. But looks like we're about to start. So the cars are racking and stacking, ready for a green-white checkered. They come through turns 3 and on to turn 4. Pace cars in. And we've already got guys battling it out, trying to get which one of the lanes to move better than the other. And there's Chris Perel shuts the door on the inside line. And there is nothing in it between these two groups. This front four, and they've just peeled away. I am wrong, it's not a green-white checkered. They're going to get 2 green laps before the white and the checkers. Let's say Nicholas is going to slot in behind in the 4th. They're going to try and work out what to do. Looks like Roger Clark's pulled out. He's having to go around the outside. And no one's gone with him, so he'll slide to the back of the pack of 4. Hayden Dodman's up to 2nd place. And it's the last lap. White flag's out. Nicholas is having a look around the outside. Roger slides up, shuts the door for him to stop coming back in the line. He'll slip back to 4th place. Roger up to 3rd. Looks like Roger Clark's gone, and I believe Hayden Dodman might have just taken that. So in the end, the unofficial results are Hayden Dodman in 1st, Roger Clark in 2nd, Chris Perel in 3rd, Nicholas Crawford in 4th, David Webb in 5th, Rodney Morris in 6th. Phil Otto in 7th. Brett Douglas is 8th. Matthew Culet, sorry Matthew if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, in 9th. Wayne Pendilli in 10th. Jason Martin in 11th. Unlucky for him at the start of the race, but the last car on the lead lap. 12th place Edward Foster. Daniel Stevens in 13th. Norman Clark in 14th. Daniel in 15th. Simon Thomas in 16th. Simon Joel Smith in 17th. 18th Mitch McLeod after finding up at the lead. 19th is Ashley Lear. 20th is Matthew Deere. 21st is Aaron Wilton. 22nd Mitch Burst. 23rd is Brad Lloyd. 24th is Ray. 25th Sam McLeod. 26th is Hayden, and 27th is Corey Fuster. I'm your host, Brad Matheson, and that's it for round 4 at Daytona, the Australian New Zealand Camping World Truck Series, and hopefully see you next week.